Hello and welcome to Generic Sports Podcast. I'm your host, the Goose, Josh.
And I'm John.
And today we're going to talk to you about what we thought of week 5 of the NFL season for 2023. I've already lost track because the Broncos suck.
I mean that's surprising. That's a bit of a surprise when we first started.
Yeah, well, I mean, I hate to say that they suck, but it's the defense that really just sucks.
Mm-hmm.
We've decided like we both want to talk about our favorite our teams first, and then get into more because why not say what's really on our mind first. And it's tough with the Broncos because like the defense sucks. I swear I think they've given up like 800 yards of not total offense, just 800 yards when teams rush against us. Like when teams are running the ball, they can run through us. I'm like, I already know that my next week in fantasy, I'm playing Isaiah Pacheco.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even care if if the Broncos defense comes alive and he gets no points. I'm not even going to be mad because I'm just going to be like, well, they finally did something because I think he can get 20 points in that game.
Right. That might be the minimum.
Right? Because that defense looks so lousy.
You just need to fire Vance Joseph, but since it's a short week, you're not doing it this week.
Right? Like, I've heard Broncos fans and other, some of the national people saying, stuff about the Broncos, and, they made a good point. It's like, I will say, like, one of our favorite shows is First Things First, and they made a good point. It's like, what, I think there's going to be, like, a fall guy, like, there's going to be a scapegoat, and there needs to be one after when we're not on a short week. And they were asking, like, do you bench Russ or do you fire a coach? And I'm sorry, I think you got to fire a coach because there's no reason. And the only reason that you don't fire Vance Joseph is if we are completely in tank mode for Caleb Williams. If that's the case, then, have at it. But right now, I feel like to give this team a spark, Vance Joseph needs to get fired. Sorry, you're not not good. I've said it before. It's like I think about other jobs and stuff like that. If Vance Joseph was, an assistant manager, like he's the secondary, he's in charge of a division of the team. His numbers aren't producing.
I didn't even, honestly, I never even thought he was good when he was the Dolphins defensive coordinator with like Adam Gase, and I'm surprised how many jobs he got.
Right. But that's the thing. Sean Payton was brought in to improve Russell Wilson, and he has done that. Russ is still having some struggles, but his numbers are looking good. I don't think every loss is on Russ this season. I don't even think any of them are really. This one might have been on Russ in some, as far as all the games with the Jets, because first of all, we sucked on offense that second half. We only played one half of a game, and the only reason we beat the Bears is because we played the second half.
When you remember to do that, it's like if you remember to do that, you could win.
Right. So the Broncos just they went. I think they had 5 straight 3-and-outs. They had negative 18 yards in the third quarter. That's
dang.
That's got to be on. I feel like there's some of that's got to be on Russ because I know he took some sacks, and I'm not gonna sit here and talk. Oh my God, the Broncos are just that bad. The Jets. I got to give credit to the Jets. First of all, their defense is great. I forget his name, but he's like Quentin Williams' brother.
Quinnen.
Huh?
Quinnen. Yeah, I think it's pretty close to it. Like
okay.
Like that.
Quinnen Williams, he's a linebacker. He was great. He got the game-sealing score, right? I think, or he recovered the ball. I think he got some of the sacks. He definitely played great. So, I kind of zoned out. I was like, after I saw the ball on the ground. So. And yeah, I know Sean Payton got really, yelled at Russ, and he deserved it. He's holding the ball too long and just not making, he played a really good first half, Russ did. But the defense played good. And
their defense was always their like strong point, Jets this season, and I'm going to be worried about that.
Yeah, and Brees Hall.
Yeah.
I mean, he ran over us last season and got hurt in that same game. But but he looks like he's back to top form, and he's definitely their best weapon on offense.
He would have been rookie of the year if he stayed healthy.
Him or if Kenneth Walker
Yeah.
started, but yeah, no, it's just like the Jets played good, and I'm not gonna sit here and say like I'm not a coach. So first of all, Nathaniel Hackett was a really bad head coach. Do I feel bad for the guy getting called out like that? Kinda, but sometimes the truth hurts, and sometimes we need to hear the truth, because I need to hear some truth. Sometimes like I'm dealing with some health issues and stuff, and I gotta get better, and there's stuff I'm working on, and you know what? I know when I need help, and you know, and the truth can kind of, you know, maybe it could have been sugar coated a little bit more, but sometimes the truth still needs to be heard.
Right? Like it's fine to criticize. It's fine to give a critique of someone if they need, like, because sometimes they need that.
And maybe because it was like a head coach, speaking about a former head coach, it's like this whole, you know, code, the coach, you know, coach's code or something. I get that, but I mean, would it have been different if would it have been any different? I guess it would have been different if Sean said that before he got the Broncos job. But just there, it wasn't even that like yeah, he Zach Wilson didn't play as good. That offense, like, I don't think he called a magnificent game plan. Vance Joseph just was that bad. As bad as Nathaniel Hackett was as bad as Vance Joseph is on the defense. But that's the thing. Nathaniel Hackett, you know, decided to go for like I think a 60-yard field goal in the first game. He didn't trust Russ. And then he couldn't figure out the play clock, and there was a lot of disaster. And I just want to say, like, I know you gave it your best shot, and that's the thing. It's like, but some people aren't made out to be head coaches, and I'm not trying to defend, you know, what Sean Payton said. I'm not trying to say that Sean Payton was right with what he said, but I don't know exactly what I'm saying. The truth hurts. That much I am saying, and maybe it didn't need to be spoken. But Sean is doing a better job with Russ, even if they're not getting the wins.
Yeah, Nathaniel Hackett might just be a better coordinator than he is a head coach, because if he was the head coach of the Jets, then they probably still would have had some of the same issues that he had with like play clock and other stuff he didn't need to worry about as an offensive coordinator. That it was all on the head coach's job.
Well, yeah, and I mean we see that a lot of times. Like, you know, Nathaniel Hackett might just be a good coordinator. We don't necessarily like. I love Steve Spagnuolo. I thought he was going to be an excellent head coach because he was just a good, you know, but now he's got like 4 Super Bowl trophy rings or something, because as a defensive coordinator or something like that, he's got at least 3. But I don't see him going back up and being a head coach.
I mean,
soon.
Yeah, I mean, Wade Phillips is better as a defensive coordinator. Vic Fangio is better as a defensive coordinator.
I mean, Vic, I feel like he should have got a shot sooner.
Yeah, he really should have.
The right spot. But
Jim Schwartz.
Oh my God, yeah, Jim Schwartz. And so, you know, and that's the thing. I think head coaching is a really tough job.
Well, one of the key things about head coaching is that you need to be able to build a quality staff.
And Vance Joseph was a very late addition to the, like, I would still be okay if they wanted to get rid of Vance Joseph and try and get Rex Ryan or something.
Right, like Rex Ryan was even saying like that he could fix this defense or something. But I know one of the things was that a lot of teams were trying for Vic Fangio, and he picked the Dolphins. So.
Well, I don't think he wanted to come back to Denver as soon as like Vance Joseph did.
Yeah,
and I mean, I don't think Vance Joseph's ever coming back to Denver after this season. So
nope, you better not.
What else? Let's get back to the you know. I think I saw something where Robert Saleh said to him, "Stay humble," and that's the end thing. Just stay humble. Maybe, you know, like you know, I don't know if it was as big of a deal. You know, I mean, if the teams were like 4-1, would have been a huge deal. Like, this would have been like, you know, game of the week. It would, you know, something like that. Like, it would have probably had more of a, you know, been on more of the, you know, channels, and, you know, or something. Like, it would have been the prime game for the afternoon, because you weren't getting away from 49ers Cowboys in the evening spot. But that being said, man, they're definitely going to question what the season could have been with Aaron Rodgers. I don't know Zach Wilson still got a shot turning around.
I mean, it'll be very telling in their next game.
Who's their next game?
The Eagles.
Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens with that one, because this is a game that the Eagles would probably need, like, to show they can get a real quality win and stuff. That's the thing. It's like, it's hard to say. Like, the Broncos just didn't look. It's like there were some mistakes, like Marvin Mims like losing the ball on the punt. I blame Key Ryan on that. I think the ball went too high on that like end around fake type thing. And the defense, man, the defense is really what's just killing it. I mean, we're scoring, like, if our defense was as good as it was last year, we're getting those points. We've scored, except for the first game, over 16 points. Like, every game we've gotten at least, we even said, like, I think there was something like 17, 18 points. If we scored 18 points a game last season, our record would have been reversed. Every game but one, we have scored more than 18 points. So if we had that defense, and that's the thing, a lot of the talent is from that defense from last season. So that just tells me that the coordinator is the problem, and that's Vance Joseph, and we've already spoken about that.
We've almost wrote a book on it right
now. So that being said, I hope Caleb Williams will want to play for the Broncos, or at least somebody. I'm definitely looking at a new quarter, but I think we're gonna look at a lot of more. I don't know what Patton's gonna be like. I don't know if he's still gonna be our GM, but like going into next season, like I look at Marvin Mims and I look at Jaleel McLaughlin. He was great. I should shout out to Jaleel McLaughlin. These people who feel like they're Sean Payton guys, like if he gets what he brought to guys like coming in and the Saints, like he can build if he has a say in it with the GM. Because even like that's the thing, even Patton, the one thing that they're missing out on is like the free agents. They gotta get better with that. But Jonathan Cooper and Nick Benito look good. I think Jonathan Cooper was a Patton guy, not a Elway guy. But I know Pat Surtain was. So like these guys that
you're drafting well. We've said it and we're going to say it again. Just get rid of Vance Joseph.
Yeah, well, and injuries suck. But injuries suck for everybody. So like Dulcich.
I mean, we're going to mention,
but
we're going to mention a lot of injuries that have gone over the weekend too.
Well, I don't really have anything else to say about that as far as injury. The Broncos. Might as well move on to your game and see like the whole injury with Daniel Jones.
Right? Like I saw Van Ginkel sack him, but I couldn't tell what was wrong, and that it was his neck makes sense.
Right.
But,
well, and he had a neck problem before, and like I really feel like to start off with the Giants is fine because there's not a whole lot to talk about with the Giants, and
their offensive line is so bad. He was sacked 17 times within the last 2 games, and that's not how many. And that's just Daniel Jones, because I think Tyrod Taylor got sacked too yesterday. So
like if you combine the Seahawks and the Dolphins for sack, and the Seahawks had 11, I mean that's still a lot. Like you said, 17 times, 6 sacks on him from the Dolphins.
Yeah,
and I know Christian Wilkins has been more of a run stopper, and stuff. That the fact that he got, I know he got at least 1 sack. I think he got 2. I'm not for sure, but
I believe it was 1.5 sacks.
But that just said the Giants, like, I mean, at least Darren Waller got some yards and stuff, but they don't look good. I mean, they got the pick 6, and that was great. I mean, it was a tip drill kind of thing, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I don't know if that felt a little more on Tua. Tua, I think, even said like he was trying to force it in to a place he shouldn't have thrown it, which led to the pick 6.
Right. Personally, I know they had a bad game against the Bills last week. I want to say I felt a little bit felt like this might have been in some ways, like I thought the picks were really kind of bad like this week. Comparatively, I think we had a worse week.
The picks were worse this week, but overall, I think we played better on defense this week.
Yes.
And our O-line having Connor Williams back at center helped a great deal, instead of having someone who never played center.
Like never ever, or just never in the NFL?
I don't think never ever. I think that was his first time.
That is tough, very tough. But I think Connor Williams, that just shows how really great he is, because that O-line is really great. And Teron Armstead's like out again, so I don't don't think they need him, honestly.
Liam Eichenberg, who played center last week, I don't even think played on offensive line this week. So I think that also shows stuff too. But like I know, but like our offensive line, like Austin Jackson, our number one pick that we got, I think it was with one of the 3 number 1 picks we got with Tua that year. He's come along, like he's been playing fantastically. A lot of people had said negative things about him the last couple seasons, but now he's come along and he's really good. Like
I didn't catch the name.
Austin Jackson.
Okay, I kind of remember him. Yeah.
So and like we got better on O-line this year, and that helps a great deal. As long as they can stay healthy, we're running the ball and passing the ball great. Like we held them. Our defense this was the best defensive game we played because we held them to 9 points offensively.
Yeah.
They got the pick six got them the touchdown, and they didn't score a touchdown on offense.
Right. I'll just say this. I'll say this. Two things. I think there's an order to this specifically. The finding Van Ginkel feels like a diamond in the rough.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's been on such an upswing. Like I remember was it last season or was it 2 seasons ago or something? Like they just kept calling his name. Like he kept doing some stuff. Mm-hmm. He kept doing some stuff, and he feels like he's just really taking over. And he was like a really late draft pick or something.
No, I think he was late or mid rounder. I think he was the third.
Okay, but he definitely played special teams for a while,
mm-hmm.
and he was just kept coming up, and he's making plays he's making plays this season. Like he's always in the defensive talks about unlike Bradley Chubb or something. Mm-hmm. Like he's earning his start, and he's gonna get paid. I hope Miami pays him.
He's our top. Well, what was it? He was he was actually a free agent this year, and Vic Fangio actually wanted him back, and we got he's on a 1-year deal. I'm pretty sure he's going to get a new deal middle of the season.
Right.
Because he's our number 1 pass rusher right now.
Right. If not, he's getting franchise tag. But the big thing is, we don't talk about GMs a lot. They don't talk about it on TV as much. But Chris Grier has been grabbing fantastic talent for years, and it's all coming together. And I don't think he definitely does not get enough credit because he had to go through maybe it was because he hired some bad coaches, or I won't say Brian Flores was a bad coach because he did win games. I don't think he was the right coach for the Dolphins.
Yeah, well, Chris Grier I think what it comes down to is Chris Grier has been, I think, with this team for 20 years and has seen all the bad of this team. So I think he's seen the problems that we've had with this team. And
right, I mean, I think I think we both I know that there were some problems, and I don't hold it against him, but I think the biggest tell sign was, for whatever reason, that Brian Flores had some problems with Minka Fitzpatrick, and traded him away. I mean, I forget what, I think, did you get a first or a second for him? I think you got a first for him.
I think so.
I forget what player that turned into, who you drafted, but I think that was one of those signs where he was a great talent. He's still playing great in Pittsburgh, and he feels it makes sense being a Steeler. It does make sense, but could have been a great Dolphin.
And he did not believe in Tua and hurt Tua's confidence. But now look at what Tua's doing with this offense, with all this stuff. Brian Flores could not have gotten this out of Tua, even if he had all the same weapons. Mm-hmm. And Tua is just playing fantastically. I mean,
minus a couple interceptions.
He needs to work on that, and he will. But he is funnily enough, somehow he feels like the team gets better after he gets an interception. It's oh, you took the ball, you took the ball away from us. So the defense is you're not doing anything with it.
Right. Well, I mean, they only scored on a pick six, so that means the defense wasn't even out there to do that.
Right. They scored on the pick six, then we score 3, and then we score, and then because we got the ball to start the next half, we scored on the opening drive. So really didn't bother us.
Right. That's 10 points with them just getting a pick six. I will say that I know the big thing. I feel the big thing from this game was the play to Tyreek that just went off. I know that it was a miscommunication.
Yeah.
And Tua just called something, and it worked. It worked out. And you know what? Who cares? Peyton, the greats do that, and sometimes you just need it worked out. And
ironic.
They got a great. That was one of Tyreek's best. I feel that was a top 10 Tyreek Tyreek play in general. So
ironically, that was the score. How I said they came back in the first half, in the beginning of the second half, the score that was the Tyreek play.
there you go.
So it connects, but yeah. I love that, like, what was it? Devon Achan said on the fastest play, like when Tyreek went 22 miles per hour, that was the fastest play in the NFL this season, and he got caught. That was like the play that got us to the end zone at the end of the first half, and Devon's like giving him trouble because he got caught because Devon Achan ran for his super long touchdown.
All I know is there's two things that I can think of, and they both involve DK Metcalf. One, if you play the Seahawks, DK Metcalf better be on defense, and same thing with Tyreek, like against each other. Like they should just match up. I don't care if you don't know how to play defense. I know it would be completely hard, but I want to see that speed battle. Second, if you don't play the Seahawks, I feel like DK Metcalf should be part of the Dolphins. Like that should just be like nah, he's fast. Like we automatically should acquire. I wish it worked that way. I just like to see Tyreek next to DK Metcalf and Jalen Waddle and see how all of those goes off. But we can play that in Madden.
Right? Like literally just take all the fastest players and put them on the Dolphins but I like the nickname that some of the Dolphins fans have given our offense of the greatest show on surf because of how many yards, just because of how well the offense is doing. And really, Devon Achan has been a fantastic pick, one of the best running backs from the rookie class. Like, I'm surprised he fell with how well this has gone, that he was a third rounder.
Well, look at him and like I said, Jaleel McLaughlin. Like, what was that? The flattery or what was it? The satiric
imitation
serious form of flattery. Like, I feel like they have that reminiscence of like the greatest show on turf.
Yeah.
So like I feel like that's a good one for them. That being said, I have one small little thing left as far as the Dolphins go that I want to finish up with. So unless you have anything else, I want to save my thing first.
I was happy about. I'm glad Raheem Mostert is still being used too and did well there. Well, I think we need to get.
You can't play this league with just one running back. I mean, look, Zach Moss and Jonathan Taylor are going to be a dynamic duo. So,
exactly.
And look. I mean, we love Saquon, but
they need Saquon though. But they need more help there too.
It's a multiple running back league. Yeah.
That's why Mike McDaniel, even when he was with San Francisco, liked to have 5 of them. And keep getting more. The defense needs to get more. It needs to start getting takeaways and keep getting sacks and pressures like it does. But we need more takeaways.
So with that, and hopefully, I think a Vic Fangio defense can get better.
I think we keep getting better every week.
Yeah, we'll have to see when you play the Eagles and go from there. But and the Chiefs, and I know those are coming up in the next month or so.
I mean, if we keep holding even the bad teams that we play to low scores, that helps too.
Yeah. Now my thing and I know I've mentioned it before, but I just want to say that Mike McDaniel is great, and there's so much that the Broncos should have had a new head coach that came from the tree of Mike Shanahan, be it Kyle Shanahan, Matt LaFleur, Sean McVay, like I said, Mike McDaniel, even Kevin O'Connell. I think there's just so many there's so many pieces that were around. I mean, that we just that if you look at the coaching landscape, how much out there right now comes from Mike Shanahan,
right? You should literally everything the 49ers have should literally be the Broncos,
right? Or Mike. I mean, I know Mike McDaniel wouldn't have had the pieces, but there's a lot of 49ers that could have been Broncos if we had done that. And Mike McDaniel could have been a great head coach with the Broncos. But that's the thing. My point really being is, 2 points. After Sean Payton, if we need to go look at maybe somebody that comes from that Mike Shanahan tree or branches from it, because they are obviously working out. That being said, because of those branches, Gary Kubiak and Sean McVay have won Super Bowls. Sean McVay made a Super Bowl, lost a Super Bowl. Kyle Shanahan has made made a Super Bowl as head coach. He lost it, but he's still coordinator. And same thing with LaFleur. Like all of these, like look at how much and all of that. Mike Shanahan, because of how great he was as a head coach and how he has enriched the life and the coaches and how the league looks right now, he better get in the Hall of Fame. I mean, just from not from what everybody else is doing right now, but just to see how it's that it feels like Bill Parcells. I mean, Shanahan won too, but like just look at how much his coaching,
his legacy
has brought on. Like it's something that's in that conversation because like yeah, they don't count for Mike Shanahan, but like you can see how that tree has grown and where new seeds are developing and a new trees being born from, and Mike Shanahan learned from before too. So it's like, but it's that thing. It's like there's such a legacy, such a branches, such termination, such greatness in these, from it. So I wish there was something more with the Broncos, but Mike Shanahan and the Broncos, like that was a legacy, and that legacy continues in so many teams right now, and I love it. I mean, I'd love it more if it was the Broncos, but again, one last quick note I forgot on the Broncos. The snow-capped helmets are kind of okay, but man, we got to get rid of the whole orange on orange. And like that's too much freaking orange. like, can we break it up? We maybe do like a gradient where it's like it's called snow-capped. Maybe we do some white on the shoulders and then
goes into the orange.
And then maybe some white on and some blue on the bottom or something. Like just there's way better than having those color rush that the orange. It's too much orange. I don't like us all the time in orange. I think we are a blue should be our primary color with the orange on the side. I know I'm a late Broncos fan. I came in the 90s, but that's the way I've always seen them, and that's the way I'm always going to see them. I don't care for the big giant D either. We've won. We have been a better team with the new logo.
Well, that's why that's kind of why people like the Dolphins throwbacks, because like we won the Super Bowl with the old logo. We haven't won really with the new one. But
if that was the case for us, I would agree with the Broncos. Yeah.
But still, well, I'm happy that like living in with Mike Shanahan, the legacy of Mike Shanahan with Mike McDaniel and with the Dolphins. I'm happy to be like that. The team feels relevant, successful in the talks of being one of the best teams in the league. This has been such a change for me since like it hasn't felt this way since Dan Marino.
Right. I just want to say about the whole coaching tree. Like technically, yeah, ball boy under Shanahan, and then Gary Kubiak picked him up, and then Kyle. I think he went through Washington and the whole Kyle Shanahan and everything. So like, just look at that legacy right now with Mike. Where he comes from. It's like you see that it's like it's got that Mike Shanahan touch on it. So it's like I love it.
I mean, his offense is hard to prepare for. I remember Wink Martindale literally said he would go to sleep, wake up, cry, trying to plan for this offense, and
right.
It's just a lot of fun to watch.
All right. With all of that said, we're going to move on to our segment we like to call most surprising or disappointing, or most surprising and disappointing, because we like to talk about both teams in the segment, and the Bears were definitely the most surprising,
and the Commanders were the most disappointing,
right? And well, the Bears, I mean, at least they continued off what they did against Denver, that they should have won that game. That being said, Commanders were really disappointing after you took the Eagles to overtime,
right?
Scored 31, but you couldn't do anything against the Bears, and the Bears just looked great.
I think I think like just the passing of Dick Butkus just helped inspire the Bears. I think that.
I mean, then weirder things have happened, so I can totally agree with that.
But I mean, they did just play well overall, and I don't know what to believe what the Commanders are, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know either. So
I mean, the Commanders could easily have no wins right now.
Yes.
The Commanders could easily, it's like, I guess that's why the Commanders are where they are, because some of these other, like, they could have easily had another win against the Eagles if they played, things worked out.
They're what, like
I think they're 2-3.
They're they're 2-3, and they could either easily be a 0-5. They could. I mean, I think this is the only game that they could have legit lost. Like they really could be a 4-1 team.
Yeah, this is the only team that they did not have a competitive spark in. But if the Bears might might get some more wins if they can keep playing like that and keep getting DJ Moore involved.
Yeah, they could. They have to sign some running backs. I think they signed one off your practice squad, the Dolphins practice squad. But
yeah.
Other than that,
well, they have Deonta Foreman, and like he's great. Like I always liked him in like as a whenever he was playing, and like he kind of like was a mini Derrick Henry. So
I mean, it did help that he was playing behind Derrick Henry and looked good though.
Right.
But I don't know. Not too much on this one because I know we've got many other games to cover, and good job Bears. I hope they keep doing well because Justin Fields actually looked legit in these last 2 weeks, so it was a big surprise in all honesty.
Well, they do play the Vikings twice, so we'll see which one of those comes up, who comes out on top in those games.
Right. Next up we've got just a lot of disappointment here. It's this one's more. I guess this is why I like to call it or disappointing more than and, because this one's definitely an or, and it's the Patriots. I mean, I thought first of all, I thought the Saints were gonna win. They have a lot of talent on both sides of the ball, but and I'll admit, I picked up the Saints defense this week or for the week in fantasy football because I was just like, I looked at it, I was like between Texans, Saints, and I was like, oh no, Atlanta's playing at home. Atlanta's a good home team, and they were. We'll talk about more of that later, but I was not expecting the Saints to have like one of my highest scoring players, just the Saints defense, but they got like a pick six. They got fumbles, sacks. They did everything right, and Mac Jones was just looking bad. Bailey Zappi was looking worse. The offense just looks. I don't know how you take a step backwards from Matt Patricia being your offensive coordinator when you were looking better this season early on, but you look just like you look the worst.
Yeah, I don't know how they go from not having an offensive coordinator to like this. It's like, is this a problem on Mac Jones, or is this like saying that Bill Belichick is not signing the players Mac needs to be successful?
I mean, I think I don't know. It's hard to really judge Mac when because like let's face it, there's a whole combination of things like good coach, good quarterback. Sometimes the quarterback enhances the coach enhances quarterback. Some things we don't know for sure, but you need talent around the quarterback, and I don't think Mac has enough. I mean, Juju's hurt.
Yeah, Juju got hurt, and if you don't, he only has the tight ends,
right? And it's not Tom Brady. Like, I wish that we would look at other things than just the tight end to enhance this. Let's do something. Let's look at actually getting a wide receiver.
I mean, the problem is that they're unable to draft good wide receivers, because the last one they took, I remember, was like N'Keal Harry, who I think's on his third team or something.
Right.
So like they're just unable to draft good wide receivers. Like during the time when it was Tom Brady, like they took like Wes Welker, who was from the Dolphins, and Randy Moss and other stuff.
But they could have got DeAndre Hopkins. They could have just offered him some more money. They could have.
I think because of Bill O'Brien, I don't think DeAndre was ever going there.
That's true. But maybe, just maybe, I don't know. I know, like, I've heard the Broncos. I don't want to bring up the Broncos all the time. They're supposed to have a fire sale. It's more on the defensive side. I don't know. I guess if you could offer something for Jerry Jeudy, not that I'd want to get rid of him, but if you wanted to look at like trying to get some receiver help, Broncos, Vikings, that's about it right now. Like, I can't.
I mean, like, the Giants are in the same boat. Daniel Jones has like no weapons besides Darren Waller, and look at both, and they're both 1-4 teams.
Right, and some of these teams got like 2 wide receivers that are look good. So it's like get some help, trade for some help, draft better. I don't know. But the Patriots just look. I mean, this is like Bill Belichick had his biggest loss, biggest like margin of defeat like last week, and followed up by this like his worst shutout. Like these are 2 of his worst losses ever. Meanwhile, the Saints feel like they're clicking. Olave, Thomas, Kamara. Like now, I'm not sure about Rashid Shaheed in my fantasy league, but everybody else is looking good, coming together. So, and what was it? Jamal Williams, once he gets off IR, like there could be a lot of firepower in that.
Well, the
team.
NFC South is like three teams with three wins. They all look pretty good. So
yeah, those teams.
the Bucks, the Saints, and the Falcons. Yeah.
They do. So the Bucks still look the best right now.
Yeah, since they're on bye week, they're still at number one. We'll see next week when the Bucks play the Lions, so that should be fun.
That should be a fun one. Anything else, Saints?
The Saints look good, and the Patriots have lots of questions.
Right. So I guess on to the next one. Oh boy. Speaking about a lot of questions, I don't know which team to ask the question to first. The surprising Steelers or the disappointing Ravens? I think I'm going to have to go with the Ravens because you're disappointing. You're like on this most disappointing because you were up 10-0 and then you lost 17-10. People couldn't catch the ball. You couldn't score anything after the initial 10. I get it. Like it's a rivalry. It's a defensive battle and stuff. But there were like Lamar was throwing some good balls and stuff like that. Like they just went through the hands and stuff. So I just. And I just don't know what to really think of the Ravens.
Yeah, I don't know either. Like you got Lamar weapons. Lamar has like these wide receivers that like you need to be able to do stuff with.
Right. I'll be honest. My total initial thought is these are all sham like pretenders right now. Like the whole division, with the exception of the Bengals, they are just slow starters.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just what they're. I still think I could see the Bengals somehow come back and win this division.
Mm-hmm. Easily with how some of these are. I mean,
even though they're 0-2 in divisional matchups and stuff, I still think that they could still get the wins that they need.
Well, the Steelers have only been successful against their own divisional opponents and the Raiders,
and only one team hasn't been successful against the Raiders. We don't have to be reminded of that one.
Mm-hmm.
So the Steelers.
I mean, if they can get Pickens more, and
right, I just think I really think I know a lot of fans of the Steelers want Matt Canada out, and that's just like they barely won. That defense helped get them to the position to win.
Their defense is why they have 3 wins.
It is. When they played against the Browns, their offense only scored, I think, 14 points. Their defense scored the 16, 17 points to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like pretty bad if the defense can score as many or more. I forget how much they scored, but they are the reason that they scored enough to win the Browns. I think maybe it was actually 3 touchdowns. I forget, to be honest with you. But the Steelers definitely that was a surprising win, but you won, and that's what matters. And the Ravens, that's gonna be a tough one. See where they go throughout the rest of the season.
Like the Steelers can still win some more games through their defense.
Anything else we want to talk about with these teams?
I think we just about covered it.
Just a lot of questions with that division.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that division, it's like no, the Bengals were actually surprising. The Bengals, I gotta tell you, they got their offense back. Marche said, I think he broke the team record. Did he have 14 or 15 receptions? He had 3 touchdowns. I think that tied some record.
Yeah, he had a lot.
I don't know. I know you're who you played in fantasy had him on their team. So there was just a lot of points, and good for. I know he was saying I'm always open, and you know what? He really was this week. So. Trying to think. Cardinals still played good. They were in that game for most of it, and they still looked solid for what they didn't have.
Right, they're still playing harder than we expected them to, but they're still just about where we expected them to be. But they feel different than where we expected them to be.
Right. So, like I said, I think this segment's just called more most surprising or disappointing, and this one's more of the most surprising. Hey, Bengals, you came back. You're 2-3. You're 2 games back on the division, but if everybody, some teams are on bye, you can get the 500 next week and you can be right back into this race. So
they're 5 games in, so like I said, the Reggie Gigas slow start's over with now, so now Reggie Gigas is at full power. So Joe Burrow is feeling better and feeling the best he's felt. I think he said that about his calf, that they might really be they might get back to being the dominant Bengals team.
Right.
They were.
I'll still say he should have probably maybe game 1 or 2, but I think he's getting, if he's feeling better and playing better, if he's feeling better, that leads to him getting better, playing better. That's all that matters.
Yep. It's always about how you finish.
It really is. I mean, you can just see how the Lions come around. Like they've lost like what, 2 games in the last like 2 like 10ish. 12 games or so. I know they were like what 1-7, 1-8 or something.
Something like that.
Or I think they were 1-7, and then they finished 9-8, 4-1 right now. So
yeah,
just got to keep going on that kind of thing, on that streak, that roll. Now here is definitely the and in our segment. One team was most surprising
and most disappointing,
and another team was definitely most disappointing. Well, they were both
the same team was the
most surprising and disappointing. I guess in some ways. I thought
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised at the 49ers. I am surprised and disappointed in the Cowboys.
I'm surprised at how bad they played. Not that they lost. I thought they were gonna lose, but
thought it was going to be closer.
I definitely thought it was going to be maybe like 21-30, like 21-31, 28-31, somewhere. I had a feeling that the 49ers were still going to get dirty.
This was the highest scoring points that the 49ers have made the entire year so far, and it was all against the best team they played.
And that was the most points that they gave up all season. They gave up 41 previously in combined in the games, and then they gave up 42 in one game.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's start with Dak threw 3 interceptions. That was bad. He didn't. The offense just looked so bad, like no rhythm.
They couldn't get anything going. Well, I think they had the 3 interceptions were in 3 consecutive drives. Like it was good. Like drive interception, drive interception, drive interception. Well, you're not going to get anything done if you're doing that,
right? And they couldn't even get the I don't think they did anything with the turnover that Christian McCaffrey gave them at the 1 yard line. And I mean, even if they did, like they 10 points. That was it. Like the Texas Rangers outscored them.
Right.
But that's just on Dak and the offense. Like nobody, I didn't really hear like where was CD Lamb, Michael Gallup. I mean, Tony Pollard. They forgot to run the ball, but like Tony
how
Pollard
could you run the ball? How can you run the ball against this defense? And
I mean, you still give Tony Pollard a chance. Like he made the most explosive play, I think. Him and Turpin were the only 2 that I felt like actually showed up in the game. But I want to say that on both sides of the ball because but Micah Parsons just
their O-line is just so good. The 49ers are just like the most complete team in the NFL right now.
Yeah, they stuffed Micah Parsons,
and DeMarcus Lawrence.
Right? I mean, it sucked that Van Der Esch went down with an injury, but that was still late enough in the game where it was like nobody was doing anything. Like this defense, like I love Dan Quinn, but man, they looked so sloppy and stale and boring. Like they were just so dry.
I mean, to be fair, they were on the same team together, so Kyle Shanahan used to put his offense against Dan Quinn's defense. So he probably knew how to beat it.
True. I want to say I think they both evolved their.
They both have evolved their scheme.
The Atlanta Falcons. So yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's some familiarity to it, but
still, like Brock Purdy might be the best quarterback that Kyle Shanahan has had.
At least as a head coach, yes. I still think like I could have seen Matt Ryan doing some amazing things back in the.
I think so. Yeah, Matt Ryan probably could still succeed in Shanahan's system, but Purdy is playing really well. This is not just like Shanahan's system. This is Purdy playing pretty good.
Well, first I just want to say that if something was to happen to Purdy and Sam Darnold took over and it was for a little while, like I think that's why Matt Ryan has not signed anywhere else. I do think that he's the do what you want, like being the broadcast booth, and if we need you, Matt Ryan is definitely the Kyle Shanahan break in case of emergency. Player. I'm hoping Brock Purdy just stays healthy because I feel like that was just a freak injury. Brock Purdy definitely looks great. Like he threw a lot of wow balls, and it was amazing. Like there were a lot of amazing ones. Like every touchdown, every ball caught from George Kittle was a touchdown. I love that play that they heard that the Lions did it first earlier in the day, but I love love the one that they did the reverse and then the flip over to
the reverse flea flicker.
to from Purdy to Kittle. Like that was just great. I'm trying to think if I can think of any puns with the name Brock, but he's rock solid.
He is Brock solid. He's rock solid and pretty good.
Pretty much.
I'm just thinking of Paul Heyman going with Brock Purdy, but
right. That being said, like honestly, like I know people question Purdy, but I thought he was just coming on last season. I was like, okay, how's he going to be after the injury? Was it a one season, like a one hit wonder? Is he going? And he's just been improving so much. Like he looked better after this injury. He's just distributing the ball all over the place. Like Debo's getting a few. Debo got a few. Like Ayuk got a few. Kittle got a few. Other people got a few. Like Christian McCaffrey. Everybody went like 17 for 24. 4 touchdowns, I think 200 something yards. I forget, but he just passer rating was like the 3rd best in the season so far. He's looking amazing.
They're just hard to stop right now.
I don't know about you, but I feel like 49ers struck gold. That being said,
I will be much happier with a later round quarterback having more success than having plenty of success.
Right. And we've only talked about the offense. Like defense got those 3 takeaways. Like Greenlaw, I think got one. Fred Warner got one, right.
Yeah, Fred Warner's an amazing talent.
Yeah,
does not get enough credit.
That defense doesn't get enough credit. Like there's names that I'm blanking on right now that I'm blanking on because I can't really pronounce them.
I know they have like Greenlaw, Hargrave, Bosa, and Warner, and the one. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Who we can't.
With the H.
Funga,
yeah.
I
was like,
he's fantastic too. Their defense is stacked.
They are. They're just building up all this talent. Now, what the crazy thing is? Do you want to know what the craziest thing is?
Mm-hmm.
I think the first pick for John Lynch as a 49er was like Solomon Thomas or Thompson or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They could you have imagined if they took Patrick Mahomes instead? I mean, not to say. I mean, yikes! Like.
Imagine if they took anyone else besides Trey Lance.
Yikes. I feel like I know we talked about GM stuff before, but like this is the kind of things like they are lucky. Personally, John Lynch I think is lucky that all these other talents have worked out for him because it's like we've talked about Chris Greer and George Patton, and I feel like that's the same thing here. It's like he's getting these other talents where George Patton's just getting hitting on rookies but not free agents. Chris Greer is hitting on everything right now, and it's like that's where I see a lot more of the success is that maybe you don't always have to hit those big, your first rounders. You should, but if you're hitting everything else and you're winning, that's what matters. Doesn't matter where you find the talent. It matters if the talent's working for you.
Right? Like we didn't have a number 1 pick and we're doing just fine.
Right? Because, Devon Outchan, he feels like he was a number 1 pick.
Mm-hmm.
The way that he's, how did people miss on this guy?
Right.
But, that being said, defense is set, and I know the kicker Jake Moody's a rookie, right? Like everybody, or at least it's his first year with the Niners. Everybody's looking good. It's like right now, and every week it changes because last week it was Buffalo that was the team to beat because of what they did to the Dolphins, and the Dolphins were the team to beat because of what they did to the Broncos. So because of what they did to the Cowboys, the 49ers are the team to beat. So we'll see what happens with them in Cleveland next week.
It'll be interesting to see this offense play against a really good defense like Cleveland's.
Yeah, honestly, it's definitely one of the games I'm looking forward to next week, especially since my Broncos play on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
And that anything else on these teams? I mean, we could talk about.
The
Cowboys keep going on it, but they were bad.
I mean, do you think Dak? I know a lot of people are saying, is Dak the problem, or was it just like they were just out beat.
I mean, you got Trey Lance for a reason. If he can understand the system and you're down like that again, maybe you get throw him in. Maybe Trey Lance could be an answer for the Cowboys. I don't know if I love Dak. Like I was like, oh man, I wish he was a Bronco. Like I still do. But first of all, he wouldn't have had that much attention as much as he's getting on the Cowboys. So I just wish I really don't know if Dax is like. I don't know if Dak's the solution. I don't know if, like, is he the problem? I don't think he is, but I don't know if he's the solution. It's a really weird, question and thought process right now. Like, is he the answer? Is he the solution? I don't know, but I don't know if he's the problem either.
I don't know if they have all the weapons that we believe them to have. Like, I mean, their defense played fantastically in the first few games of the season and last week, but those are all teams that have 1 to 2 wins they played good against.
Right. Where's Brandon Cook been? Like,
yeah, like does he really have the weapons besides CeeDee Lamb and Tony Pollard?
Right, because those are the only ones that are usually always out
there. I mean, the others are rookies, and some others are rookies like Jake Ferguson and stuff.
Right.
So they're just some other weapons are building up, but are they really as talented as we're made to believe, or is Jerry Jones just good at selling us Kool-Aid?
Right. I mean, he did say the 49ers are the Super Bowl favorite right now, so at least he was right on that.
I mean, yeah, this was a measuring stick game, and they didn't measure up. So really, the Cowboys will either need to learn from this game, or they're going to not go far.
Absolutely, and I don't know where CeeDee Lamb was like a lot, like last night. Like I don't remember hearing his name a lot, but I also don't like. This is honestly one of the few games where I've in our house, Sunday night is take out the trash, bring it in the bins, take out the trash cans type thing, and like the first time that I was really expecting this game to be like so close, like I was like done. I was like I'm gonna go take out the trash because that was gonna be more entertaining than watching the last like 5 to 7 minutes of the Cowboys trying to do something. So that kind of answered everything I needed to as far as where I see the Cowboys.
I think the Cowboys will still be a playoff team, but I don't know how far they can go.
Probably the same spot. That's what it feels like. I don't feel like they're gonna get into the if they're gonna have to play the unless they get lucky against the Eagles, I don't see them beating the 49ers or the Eagles again.
I don't know who's beating the 49ers if they're healthy.
I mean, we gotta see how they play against the Eagles first and see if they even win the division before we write anything
right, because the Seahawks are doing pretty well too. Like
that's true too. True. That was our I want to say that was like our coverage of most of this, of the most surprising and disappointing teams and stuff. But I just want to say like one honorable mention was the Rams' second half offense was disappointing. That game was like 17-14 going into halftime. While the defense couldn't stop them from scoring, could have easily had been like 14-10 game at the end of the first half, but they got a touchdown, the Eagles, with what was it called? Brotherly shove, yeah, or as other people like to call it, the tush push. I should come up with a name. I'll think of something. But that being said, the Rams, like after getting Cooper Kupp, who had a great day coming back, and Puka Nacua also doing really great, they couldn't score. Got nothing. What happened, Rams? I mean, like I legitimately think you could be a 4-1 team right now, or even a 3-2 at the worst. But like what happened? I don't know what happened. I thought they were better.
I think they need more running back help. I know Karen Williams is all right, but I think they need someone else too. And I think probably might have some O-line struggles, but their defense needs to play better. They need more than Aaron Donald.
I mean, I think they can still get some more wins, but man, they feel like they could just keep pushing. They could be one of those surprise wild card teams. Like literally, they are so wild they could be.
I think the Rams have a lot of potential to them. They have a lot more potential than what I first believed, but they should have one of the best offenses in the league with these receivers.
And I know we already talked a lot about those teams, but are we about the Rams and other teams? But are we? Only thing I gotta say about the Eagles is like, yes, covering that game is that like they hey, at least it was a 2-score game. They look good, and we're in trouble if they keep picking up. Like AJ Brown's looking like they got the chemistry with him and Jalen back. So I know that was like missing in the Vikings game. So.
Yeah, it's just weird. They're just not scoring a lot, though. I mean, I think 34 was the highest they scored against the Commanders, but like normal, but against other teams, it's only been 20 something.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, their defense. I mean, it looks like their defense has been holding teams, so
that's all that matters, really. So we'll see what happens. We'll see where they go. They can get scarier, that's for sure. That being said, speaking of scary, that Jags defense looked really scary. I know it was 25-20, but Bills didn't really score until very late in the fourth quarter, from what I remember seeing the highlights of, because I was not waking up at 6:30 to watch that game, even though I woke up at 6 o'clock a.m. today, but that was another story. But the Jags, Travis Etienne looked amazing. Trevor at least didn't cost him the game. Like, he's got a lot of room for improvement. I love Trevor, but I think he had a fumble. He didn't have any interceptions, but like those fumbles, like, I worry about. Same thing.
Yeah, any turnover is bad. Like,
right? It's like, you see these ones where it's like, Russ fumbled at the end, like that cost him. Like it could cost, like, if that same thing, on a swing, like where it was that close, like it could have been 27-25 Bills because of some mistake, fumble 6 or whatever you call it, pick up 6,
scoop and score or whatever.
Scoop and score, yeah. You never know. But Travis Etienne, Calvin Ridley looked like he was back on track. He got the chemistry, so let's and they won. That's all that matters. Now on the other side of the ball, Josh Allen, the offense didn't look great. James Cook didn't look particularly like I picked him up in fantasy because he was doing really good, but that offense just didn't look like it was. Maybe it was because of the time difference. They weren't used to it. But all that aside, I'm blanking on both players, but I know there were 2 big injuries for the Bills, and the only one that really mattered, like they're like, I don't want to say mattered, but the one that was the huge one for me was Matt Milano. The fact that he broke his leg. There's still some more testing being done to see if it's any more serious, but it sounds like he's out for the rest of the season.
Yeah, he is.
And that's like super serious in my book. Like, he is the heart and soul of that defense because he is everywhere. He's making sacks, interceptions, fumble recoveries, causing fumbles. He literally was doing it all. And every time you would hear something, it's like, and there's Matt Milano, or it's like Matt Milano with the interception, or Matt Milano with the sack. Like, that guy, he was the wild card. He was the
I was hearing other I was watching another sports talk show, and they said, can the Bills survive this war of attrition? Like, with how many people they keep losing, and that's going to be the key to that. With losing Matt Milano, and and I'm not sure who the other player went down this week was too, but they're both out indefinitely, and you already lost White and
right. Well, first of all, no, they can't. You know why? Because they proved it last year when Von Miller went down, and some other other players. They can't. But Matt Milano, I know I was saying he was a wild card. I'm trying to think if there's another word that I want to say besides wild card. He was maybe wild card's not the right word, but it's a powerhouse. He's the every guy. He could do everything and do it well because he was all over the place. I don't want to say, maybe he was the Flash in his own way. Like, he'd show up where like he needed to be. Right place, right time kind of guy. I mean, the Flash on defense as much, but he's just there. He's there. He maybe a good example of it is more like maybe he's like Wolverine or the Green Lantern in terms of superheroes, because he's one of those ones where, like, just like a superhero team, like, he's not like that team does not look good without a Green Lantern, or maybe
it was like Juggernaut or something, maybe like
I don't know about, but I just think that, like, whatever superhero you want to say, like, on that specific team, he is he's definitely one of the most valuable, like, core members of a team. Like, when I said, like, Wolverine, it's like I like reading the X-Men, but I always do enjoy when I see, like, I always enjoyed Wolverine on the X-Men, or a Green Lantern on the Justice League, or those are probably why I said those two, because those are, like, my best examples for
I was saying Juggernaut because of the power and speed that he can break through, and he breaks through like like offensive lines. So
right. I was just saying more on the terms of like he's just such an important core member of that defense. He's really like on the defense. He's like Nightwing. Realistically, he's the heart and soul of that team. He's like I don't feel like you could have all these other pieces, but like without Nightwing, like the Titans don't feel like the Titans exactly without Dick Grayson. I mean probably without a Robin in general, but like that role is definitely more like Dick Grayson, Nightwing. So
I think we're getting off to.
I want to specify how important I truly feel that Matt Milano is to that defense. That I think they're gonna lose like 4 games because that like if you had him like I think he's that important. I think that there was a swing about the defense, like especially without Tre'Davious White there now too. Like I thought he was more important. That because he was always making plays. That's how important I think he is. That they could lose like some of those really close games. That offense is really gonna have to prove it to me that they can win without a defense. I think
you can win win teams in the regular season without a defense, but you're not going to go far in the playoffs without one. If they make it.
I was gonna say that's actually that was actually my point about how important he was in making all those superhero analogies. I'm a little worried about their playoff chances right now. That's how important I think Matt Milano is. I know I might be maybe I think he's greater than he is. I always remember when watching a Buffalo game, if nobody was doing something on the defense, there was always one person, and it was him.
Well, I mean, he definitely messed up the Dolphins' chances last year, so he's not the only, and the Dolphins weren't the only other one he hurt. So, so it's like it's sad to see that he's gone for the season because I really wanted to actually be able to beat him with a healthy offensive line.
Right.
But bad stuff happens all the time, and it just sucks. And surviving injuries is the biggest thing in the NFL.
Yep. But other than that, I feel like I said most of my piece. Offense got to play better. We'll see how the defense, steps up without Matt Milano. But I think they're.
I mean, it's not going to be. We're not. I don't know how much their defense is probably going to still look really good next week.
They play the Giants next week, right?
They play the Giants in prime time.
Is that a Monday night game?
I think it's Sunday night. Can we flex?
It might be too early.
No. Week 4 was too early. Week 5 through stuff they can flex like one time. I think
this might be the week to do it
because Josh Allen is definitely going to be Superman here.
Right, just taking a look at the schedule, like if you guys wanted to flex in like Seahawks, Bengals, 49ers, Browns, Lions, Buccaneers, that's
Colts, Jaguars. They're both top. They're both at the top of their division.
Right, you got some choices there. Not Patriots, Raiders. Not Patriots, Raiders.
No.
But
Lions Buccaneers sounds like a fantastic one.
That does. But we'll get back on our week 4 stuff. Like you mentioned about like Colts, like the Colts and Titans. They played a pretty back and forth game. It was a classic AFC South. Well, when I say classic, I don't mean the last couple of years. But this one was actually a really good one. Like that was
when the AFC South was good. When the AFC South was good.
Right. This one was a good game. It sucks. Anthony Richardson's going to be out at least sounds like a month.
Oh, yeah.
He had a big it was like a grade 3
frame.
Yeah, frame AC joint, something like that. It's a shoulder. All I know is it's a shoulder. It was high grade. Like I think it said grade 3. I heard, from what I remember hearing about it. It's Minshew Mania time for the next month. I'm all for it. I think that Minshew is probably the best backup quarterback because he's like I do think he's still starter caliber. He has some good numbers. He just didn't get the wins, but I don't think wins are a QB stat.
They aren't. I mean, Justin Fields has played. So Justin Fields has had good stats and only has 1 win.
Yeah. So that being said, Jonathan Taylor signed a contract. He's got like $14 million a year, kind of on as far as how the average. I don't know all the exact numbers, but it looked really good for him. I don't know how much guaranteed, but he's back. Zach Moss, after Jonathan Taylor got his deal, he went off. He had like 100 something yards. He had like 2 touchdowns. He did great, but he did great for two reasons. Because obviously Jonathan Taylor's contract fired him, and because I traded him off my fantasy team.
That was like
everybody did good after I traded them from my fantasy team.
That was the same thing like me with dropping player. Like I drop a player, they magically do good. Pickens. Like George Pickens. Gonna probably Pickens him back up.
But the Colts look good. The Titans, they were looking better on offense. They're trying to get DeAndre Hopkins the ball, even trying to have Derrick Henry throw DeAndre Hopkins the ball. So maybe if they could try and get another wide receiver, it could help. But they're still in it. Aren't they? Are they? They're 2-3 right now, I think.
The Titans?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Titans are 2-3. Yeah, the Colts are 3-2.
Right, but all the teams are looking good right now in that division. Like it's really close.
Yeah,
and they've played a lot. Each of them have played each other a couple of times already right now. So, but I'm here for Minshew Mania.
Mm-hmm. Also, really quickly, this is week 5.
Oh yeah, what did I say?
You said week 4.
Oh well, I know they played a few times.
Yeah, I know we're into football season. That's just the important part,
right? Because honestly, like let's face it, it's gonna be gone by it's gonna be gone.
I know those commercials keep playing. Another day in Buffalo, a cold day in the Buffalo game is cold night in Buffalo is just going to be a cold night in Buffalo,
right? But be it week 4, 5, or even 6. Well, the AFC South's looking good, and I don't know what I was saying originally as far as what week it was, but that division, I guess that's what I was saying about with the numbers was they're all close. Like that's anybody's division, and honestly, with how some of the teams are looking, there might be 2 teams from the AFC South. Honestly, I mean, I could definitely see the Jaguars and the Texans, or the Jaguars and the Colts, or the Colts and the Texans. That would shock me, but I even could see the Titans if they could just pick up the offense a little bit more. But more on to week 5. Another close game was with the AFC South was the Texans and the Falcons.
When games go that close to the wire and they like only lose by like a couple points, that's when I feel like the teams are like evenly matched,
right?
And that could have gone either way.
Well, and I do think some of the Texans injuries hurt them. Like I think Tank Dell went out with a concussion, and I forgot what happened to Robert Woods, but I heard he was out too.
Also, I think their O-line is still not fully healthy, and I don't even want to know what they're going to look like with a healthy O-line.
Right?
Because if they're playing pretty well with a hurt O-line, then they're going to be really good with a healthy O-line.
Right. But CJ Stroud continues to impress. He really does. Like I'm not just saying that. I'm really happy to see how good he's doing. And I hope he continues to play great. He's already got like the rookie or career starting like passes without interceptions and stuff. So we'll see how that goes against the Saints defense this week.
Right. I
do think it ends. I do think it ends.
Yeah, I think. Well, yeah, I think it's career. I don't even think it's like for a rookie. I think it's just for a quarterback or something.
Well, it's career. It's not it's one of those ones where it starts as a rookie because it's like how many pass attempts without to start your career.
Okay, there was another stat that was just like most in starts in a season.
Okay,
there was another stat that he's leading in the NFL, and it's like just for quarterbacks or something. That's not just rookies.
Gotcha. But yeah, 19-21.
The Falcons look good, and when Desmond Ridder is playing better,
when they play at home, they look good. So if they can magically win all of their games at home and win a few on the road, and if they could get home field advantage, they would be. It sounds like they'd be really scary. But they aren't going to get that because they can't play great on the road. Because the road ones, they got 6 and 7 points. Meanwhile, they're getting like 20 a game at home.
All right, I want to see how well they would play the Falcons at home versus the 49ers. Still don't. I think even at home, I think they would get destroyed by the 49ers.
I do too. Speaking about getting destroyed, the Panthers got destroyed 42-24.
I know. So the Panthers always have like higher scores than normal, and I think they score more in garbage time. So like their scores are a bit skewed, but like it wasn't as close as like I know 42-24 isn't really close, but it was further than that.
Yeah, I think it was like, what, 42-14 for a little bit there?
I think something like that.
But the Lions look great. They're playing. They didn't even have Amon-Ra St. Brown, so.
What does this say about the Panthers that they're not looking good at all? Young?
They're technically rebuilding. I mean,
they did trade two of their best players last season. I mean, they had DJ Moore and Christian McCaffrey last season and traded them both. Like,
right?
Honestly, they had a lot of good. They have a lot of like good pieces, and it's just I feel like it's Bryce Young being young that they should get more out of them.
They should, and they will. I think they just. I mean, Adam Thielen's great, but he's like the only real like they need a little bit more than just him and Hayden Hurst. I think they need a.
Yeah, the other wide
is not playing like he was before. So.
Miles Sanders is only so good, I think, and I mean, I think two of their other wide receivers were from the Jaguars, DJ Chark and Laviska Shenault, and like
right. And unfortunately, they don't get a number 1 draft pick this year, so it's gonna be like one of those things where that is gonna hurt.
I mean,
because they could use Marvin Harrison Jr.
Right? Like I hope like Bryce Young's worth what you traded for him.
Right. I mean, I think the jury's still out. At least I think rookie seasons are always the jury's still out.
Yeah.
But I definitely know he's not. He's definitely not being talked about like CJ and Anthony. So.
I think they would have picked one of the other two with how successful the other two have been a little bit right now.
That's definitely going to be a discussion for the offseason and this offseason and next offseason when we
right.
So we'll see how that goes. But the Lions they dominated. The defense looks good. The offense looks good. They lost one game to the Seahawks. We'll see how they do the rest of the season. Maybe they I don't know who else they played, like big playoff or big teams. Like they're probably going to go like at least 5-1 in the division, I think. Maybe they lose one to the Packers, I think. I know they already won one, but that's pretty much I don't know who else they play.
Yeah, I mean, at least I know they play don't they play the AFC West or something?
Yes. So the Chargers should at least be a good game for them. Should be able to tear through the Broncos, and I think the Raiders too.
Oh yeah, it's the NFC South. They also like there because they just played the Panthers and they're playing the Buccaneers.
Well, the Buccaneers and the Saints could be a good one too, though.
Yeah.
And did they play Atlanta yet or
they beat Atlanta.
Okay. I was gonna say I thought that was one of the ones that Atlanta couldn't score on.
They also play the Cowboys pretty late in the season too. So and they also play Baltimore. So it's going to be interesting with some of those tougher teams, seemingly tougher teams with the Ravens.
And that just leaves us with I guess the good team of the Chiefs and the bad team of the Vikings, because outside of the Bears, the Chiefs have looked just kind of mediocre. So I don't know what to really say about the Chiefs. Like I hate to say it, they definitely get the benefit of the doubt from the refs, and I think they can persuade them. And it kind of sucks because it's like the Patriots all over again.
Pretty much.
Because I don't know exactly what they called on the field, but the way it looked like to me when I was watching it, like they thought it was pass interference, and then everybody on the Chiefs were like, it's a tip ball, so they decided to change it so that there was no penalty for pass interference. I don't know if it was exactly pass interference, but I do think it was at least incidental contact or the illegal contact, like more than 5 yards off the down the field or something. But
Thursday night's going to be terrible.
Well, hold on before we get there. And then it's like, so you don't call that, and then you don't call the whole taking off the helmet thing. So just not to say that they would have won, the Vikings would have won or came back from the game, but if that was already like that, they already had 10 penalties with the Chiefs, so like that would have been 12 penalties. The offense is just like, I don't know. And Travis Kelce got hurt. Who knows if he's going to play Thursday? But the offense, like the defense, is definitely keeping them.
I mean, that's
alive. But
I mean, it's nice to see like their defense being better than their offense, and strong defenses, get you further than stronger offenses. But
right, and I just want to take a moment to say, I love watching good QBs, but I also love watching good wide receivers. Do not take your wide receivers for granted. I think the Chiefs I think the Chiefs not signing somebody big and trying to develop, and maybe and not re-signing Tyreek Hill. They won the Super Bowl last year, but they also had a couple good ones because they were working and developing Nicole Hardman. They had I'm blinking on his first name. Marquise Valdez, Scantling, and they had Juju Smith-Schuster. year, so they had some, they had some veterans, established. Maybe they weren't number ones, but or they were high. They were good wide receivers, and I'm not necessarily, it's like you look at like Marvin Harrison, and you look at like all these other receivers like Peyton Manning. He had good ones, and he elevated them. But you need to at least be good. I don't know. It's like you got to elevate. It's like I'm not saying like Travis Kelce was always good.
Yeah.
It's like I want to see Patrick Mahomes. Are you going to be able to elevate that talent? Like it's like you for a while there you had the benefit of having great to good wide receiver play, and it's not feeling like you've got that right now. You guys are winning games, but the biggest mistake you guys are making is that you play down to your opponent, so it doesn't make you look good.
Right? The only team was the Bears that they completely demolished.
Yeah.
Everyone else they played down to. The Jets,
at least it feels like they played down.
Yeah, like the Jets was pretty close. The Jets was because of a ref call. The Vikings was within a touchdown. They're not like dominating these opponents that you think they would with Patrick.
And they should have dominated. I feel like they should have dominated a little bit more against the Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
And the Vikings, nobody can hold on to the ball. I don't know what's going on there, but I mean nobody's holding on to the ball. And Justin Jefferson got hurt in that one too. So like it was up with the turf. It was just a bad day for both teams. And your lead catchers and stuff, not your lead pass catchers getting hurt. I don't know how long if Travis Kelce will be missing any time for the Broncos Thursday night game. I mean, I think it would be another good test if he's not there, just to see how the rest of the team does, and let Travis Kelce just get healed up. He's already missed a game, not a huge deal. They should the Chiefs should definitely be able to take care of business against the Broncos. As much as I love the Broncos, like if you overlook the Broncos, I do think the Broncos could come and win.
Mm-hmm.
But the Chiefs should win. And then Justin Jefferson, he'll probably be out a couple weeks. I mean, I'm looking at
it's like a hamstring. So.
Yeah, and I don't know how long Justin Jefferson's gonna miss, but a hamstring injury, if it's anything like Jamal Williams, could be a few weeks, could be a month. Hopefully he doesn't have to go on IR. I mean, I'd probably put him on IR if it's anything more than a week, just to make sure he stays gets healthy, but also doesn't like re-aggravate it. He needs to stay healthy because
yeah, they said they're in no rush to have him play like until he's healthy, and
right. I mean, he's far more important in the long-term success of the team. If they're not having a good season, then we already knew Kirk Cousins was gonna not make. I didn't think he was coming back next season, but I mean, with the way that the team is and the fact that it looks like they could have a top 10 pick and be in the market for a quarterback as well, probably gonna
I feel like Kirk Cousins isn't costing them the games, but
he's not. But I was gonna say but they don't want. They're not gonna want to pay him. Not when they can get a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the whole thing is like I could imagine trading Kirk for Russ, but why are you gonna pay Russ when it's like the only team I could see is if they want to see how he does would be like maybe the Patriots with Russ, and Kirk. Maybe if there's somebody else who gets injured and they're kind of like borderline right now, maybe trade for Kirk. But it's like I always thought it might be the Jets. But I don't know. I feel like if you're close and you need a quarterback and you can win those last few games, to get over the hump, maybe Kirk's your guy.
Right. Like I think Kirk could help some of the other teams with poor quarterbacks, but I don't know.
Right. And honestly, the turnovers they've had 8 in 5 games or something like that.
Yeah.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens with. I mean, I'm trying to think about highlights from that game because we didn't watch it. I don't think the Vikings it was close. I don't think it should have been that close, but we'll see how the Chiefs do this weekend. The next few games are gonna. I'm not too worried about the Chiefs go winning 3 more games because 2 of them are the Broncos, and I mean maybe they'll have a tough time against Chargers just because it's a divisional game. But if the Chargers can come off this bye and play strong, then they'll be able to get the win.
Mm-hmm.
But not that I really want to get into power rankings just yet. Might do a separate thing on that. But I just want to say, like the Chiefs in my book are probably like I think they're right now the second best team in the AFC. I do think the Dolphins are the first.
Yeah.
But it's and then like and just in the NFL, like those teams, like I think the Dolphins, I like the 49ers, the Eagles, like those the Lions and the Bucks are kind of like my top like 6 right now.
And yeah, the Lions, the Bucks, like even the Seahawks are up there too.
Seahawks might be like 7th.
Yeah.
But overall, I mean, honestly, the biggest surprise, even from like not just our predictions, but a lot of predictions, is that we thought we were gonna have a better from the AFC, but we're actually getting a lot of good stuff from the NFC. So I'm actually really happy to see that.
I mean, even like when we did the predictions, I was more shocked seeing that. I think more of the NFC teams were stronger than what I had from the AFC.
Right, we did have a few extra teams going, that looks surprising. So maybe we'll go over a review at the halfway point and see how our predictions are looking. I know one's not looking great, Broncos. So I'm gonna say I've abandoned, like I'm still a part of the ship, but I've abandoned any hope for it to.
You're going down with the ship.
I'm always going down with that ship, but you know what? We can get it into the dock. It can go in for some repairs. We can have a better ship in the next year.
Exactly.
But these other teams are it's like we'll take a look at those teams. Like right now it's like I think we were pretty, I think between you and me, like we were looking good on the AFC the NFC South, I should say.
Right.
Looking bad on the AFC South. But we kind of called some of that on the NFC South, and you called the Lions, and we'll see and hopefully the Packers can prove me right. At least it's a wild card maybe. But we'll get more into that as in a few weeks, maybe week 8 or 9, halfway point. And maybe we'll do a power ranking of some sort. I don't know if we want to do a top 30, the whole 32, but maybe a top 10.
Yeah.
Or if we'll let you know what we figure out, and you'll see it. Give us some feedback if you like, and do you have anything else to say, Johnny?
I think that's good for right now.
Okay, let's move on to Monday Night Football. That was kind of a game.
I mean, it was it had all the things you don't like in football, of penalties and
penalties getting called, and just like there's not a lot to really talk about with the game. It was pretty sloppy. It wasn't the most exciting. I was fondly. It was poor.
I mean, Jordan Love was trying to force things where they forced the ball down where it doesn't belong, and which led to him getting 3 interceptions. And really, he's still playing like a rookie because essentially he hasn't had the experience over his time.
Well, yeah, but the big thing is I think they need another running back. I mean, yeah, Aaron Jones is still the guy when he's healthy, but like I just think they need a little bit more help.
I mean, they have some rookies that played good in preseason. Maybe they need to get them involved more than just AJ Dillon.
That could be a possibility. But besides that, I think the biggest thing to talk about is the penalties, or the penalty and the lack thereof a penalty in some cases on the Raiders and stuff. First of all, the horse collar tackle, like that looked bad.
It was bad, and
I mean, I get it from saving the touchdown standpoint. Like it saved the touchdown, and like they weren't able to put it in the end zone and score the touchdown. So like that was in a sense a smart move. But I think that if you do it on purpose, because that is what was essentially thought was like, this is the only place I can grab him, so I gotta bring him down and do that. So I think it should ejection and maybe a suspension. Like I think it should be an automatic ejection. I think that they are I don't want I think that should just put the ball at like the 1 yard or half a yard line. Like it should literally be just about as close as possible, like 1 yard line or half a yard line, something that's reasonable, that just works and makes sense for because that was essentially a touchdown, a cheap way to save a touchdown, and it worked. And that's the thing, it's like you can still do these things in a game, you're just gonna get taken out of the game. So if it's
right,
so like you need the consequences of it's like if you do it, it's not just an ejection, maybe it's a one game, penalty or suspension. I mean,
well, yeah, I mean, it depends on how egregious it is because, but that's the first time I've seen that happen in forever, so it doesn't happen as often. But if they started doing, they need to put something in there so people don't start doing it more, right? because a penalty, a penalty is not going to get them that many more yards after how well it did. But if we can still stop them, the penalty is better than the touchdown,
right? That whole copycat league mentality. So I mean, we saw it with the Lions and the 49ers with the I mean, I feel like really quick on that whole thing about copying the play with the tight end to the pitch back to
reverse flea flicker.
Yeah, reverse flea flicker to it's just if you really call it are we sure that's such a risky play to not have practiced? I mean, I feel like I'm not a huge believer in coincidence, but that is one of those ones where you didn't practice that. Are you really calling a flea flicker like that?
I swear I thought I heard George Kittle or someone said they watched the Lions game and said we should do that or something, and they just did it, and
then color me surprised and impressed too that they decided to just do it without any practice. So
I mean that's a play you do if you have trust in your team, and the 49ers is a team that I definitely see could pull that off. The Patriots not so much.
That's true. But back onto the topic as far as the Raiders go, I think they could address it sooner than later. Suspension, maybe. I don't know. We'll see what happens with Marcus Peters in that instance if or this week coming up if there's anything that happens. I think we'll know by sooner rather than later.
Yeah.
That being said, I don't know how I'm watching the game and I see it out of the corner of my eye that the push off and the ref right in front of there just is no, that's not a push off. I'm you're literally, it's the no call. It's I'm this would be a huge deal if that was if the refs did that for if Kansas City was in the same position and stuff like that. If it was Travis Kelce or somebody getting pushed off of there would have been flags everywhere because it was just but it should be a flag play that's the thing. And there wouldn't be a flag if it was Kansas City. That's the way I feel. It's but this isn't the Chiefs. This isn't there's no benefit of the doubt here. You can literally see the push and the hand going in the motion of being pushed and going up. It's what else is how much obvious is it literally the motions of a push off. I don't know how much more clearer that is not a how is that not a push off?
There should just be no special treatment for there should be just unbiased refereeing. There should be no special treatment. The Chiefs shouldn't get more calls for them. Everyone should get the same amount of calls. It should be fair for everyone.
I agree, and I mean, I'm not really trying to call out the.
I mean, yes, we know the Chiefs get the benefit of the doubt from a little bit of preferential treatment because they're the Chiefs, but
right. And honestly, we watched it for years with the Patriots, so we watched it for years when it happened to your rival. Now it's happening with my rival. I'm not gonna sit here and say oh man, I wouldn't like it if it's I feel like I'd have the same reaction as of how the Dolphins beat Patriots and stuff with that with that Strange not making the first down. I'm I mean, I guess we won, but can't we do it without the penalty? That's what I want. If I would be a fan, I want to win without a penalty. It's if it's a close game and all these penalties or it's
you don't want
picked up. It's you're a better team than this Kansas City. You're a better team than this prime days of New England Patriots. So why should we not expect that other teams shouldn't be upset?
Yeah. Why do the best teams in the league need help? And exactly with the Dolphins against the Patriots, that wasn't a penalty. That was just the refs basically giving us the game because they said he didn't make it, which I still think Cole Strange made it, but that's neither here.
They didn't even measure it. They didn't. It's that's the worst thing about it.
Yeah, exactly. Do I think the Patriots Patriots would have won? No, but it still would have been helpful.
Last thing as far as the refs go, because I know we could talk all about the refs if we wanted to, but I've heard some stuff about the Josh Allen sack on Josh Allen that didn't happen because they called it roughing the passer, and I'm like, is it really? It's like I know we like to protect the quarterback, but I remember Tom Brady got one of those last year too. So like let's just try and call it fairly. That's all I want, calling it fairly.
Exactly. Like I'm worried about like the Dolphins play the Chiefs in Germany, like, but they're both two good teams right now. Like, are the refs going to really make it up for? Like, I just want a fair good game between them. I don't want the refs getting involved. Even if a team gets blown out, even if we get blown out, I don't want the refs involved with it.
Unless it's like a legit, it's like make
if it's egregious, if it's a legitimate penalty, that's fine. That's all. That's what I want called, are legitimate penalties.
Well, and to have the same,
and that they're called the same way each time.
Well, yeah, because that's the thing that people got bugged with in the Super Bowl and in a lot of games. It's like, why aren't you calling that in the first or second quarter? Because you're basically saying, here's an open invite. You're fine. We're not going to call it. You keep doing it. So if you're going to not call it the beginning of the game, don't call it at the end of the game, because that's how I've been playing the entire time. And that's the problem. And that's the thing that people complain about with, the Super Bowl, or even the Lions and the and the Chiefs at the beginning of the season. I mean, everybody got upset because they finally called the false start on Jawan Taylor or
something like that.
Like the left tackle of the Chiefs. Yeah, finally, he should have been called from the beginning, and you're only like calling it now, and it kind of sucks because he's been. If you would have called it in the first quarter, maybe he doesn't do it as much. It's a critical time.
Exactly. Like last season, I was against Minnesota. Miami played Minnesota, and they called like 5 penalties in a row on Miami in a row, and like you couldn't do that to a team if they're committing that many penalties. I still think it was the time where the NFL kind of wanted to punish the Dolphins for the whole concussion stuff, but that is neither here nor there. But still, if they do 5 things wrong, or if they do things like if they commit these penalties, no matter how many times in a row, or if they just commit these penalties is legitimately, then call it. But call it the same way, and don't, if it's the same for one, it's same for the other. Just like, let them know how you're going to call this stuff.
Yeah.
We just want fair refereeing, just like in wrestling. They have like special guest referees that are a little bit biased, and they just want to call it straight down the middle, but they don't. It's like, we need it just straight down the middle, because I feel refs deserve, like, if they get a call wrong, deserve fines or something, like, or no calls, like when you can clearly see, like, I don't know if fines, but some sort of punishment. But man, that game really was, there really wasn't much about that game. We really just moved on to the refs here, like.
Right. Well, that being said, I think we're good.
Yeah.
We didn't cover a lot of the injuries because they're still pretty fresh. And we don't have every single one of them completely confirmed. I will say it's like Elijah Vera Tucker is
out for the year.
Like out, like we know he's out for the season. Torres Achilles, I believe. So like that one. But a lot of these other ones we're gonna have a general sports one coming up soon. Talk about like the playoffs in the WNBA and the MLB, and we'll give you an update on this week's injuries. There's a lot when we go through that. And if there's nothing else, we just want to say please like, share, and subscribe, and thank you for joining us. We'll catch you here next time. Have a good one.